So I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you'll never be able to buy your first house, and this is why. So I feel like the first point I should make is the obvious one. The US economy is just not what it used to be. In the 1960s, the average household was a single income household, whereas today that is not as common. Typically today, you need 2 incomes for a household just to be at the standard of living you were in the 1960s off of 1 income. But I wanted to focus more on the first home buying crisis that is currently going on today. So the baby boomer generation is currently entering into the retirement age, and they have had years to generate wealth, obviously because they're entering retirement. So they have a lot of assets as well as investments and just a lot of time to save up money. On average, people move to a new home about every 7 years. So let's say that the baby boomer generation bought their first homes when they were 24, which honestly wasn't that unlikely then. I know now that seems kind of crazy to buy your own house at 24 for a lot of people, but back then it was very common. Fast forward 42 years, they have gone through 6 new houses if they kept up with the new house every 7 years. And now they're 66 years old and are now eligible for the retirement benefits. Now, typically when people retire, they are already at their last home, their forever home, if you will, and they just live out their years in that house until they're ready to go to a nursing home or move in with their kids. And at that time, they would sell their house or pass it along down to any children or anything when they move on to the nursing home or to live with their kids. However, home values have exploded a lot more than anyone has anticipated. So a home that people might have thought would be worth about $700,000 today is probably priced more around $1.2 million today. So this is where the crisis begins. We've been in a global pandemic for about a year now, and cash has been short for a lot of people. Jobs have been down for a lot of people. Unemployment rate is huge. So a lot of these baby boomers are thinking, my house is worth a lot of money. I'm entering retirement. It would be nice to have more financial security going into retirement. Also, maybe they have kids they want to take care of who might have lost jobs due to COVID, that a little extra money could help them get along as well. Or they just see an opportunity that's just too good to pass up, right? Houses are at an all-time high right now. If they don't sell now, who knows, in 5 years there could be a housing crash and their house could be worth half or even less than what it is now. So why risk it? So what a lot of baby boomers are doing and people entering retirement is they're selling their big forever homes. They're not living in them and they are not going to the nursing home. They're buying what we would like to call starter homes. So they're selling their house, taking that $1.2 million, and they're buying a 1-bed, 1-bath, 900 square foot, $200,000 house. But however, since a lot of them are buying out these starter homes, as we like to call them, there are less in the market. And already there's a shortage of houses for sale currently. So that just depletes the market even more. But this first home buyer crisis gets even worse because, like I said, they bought it with the $1.2 million they just got from selling their previous house, which means they just bought this starter home in cash. And buying homes in cash inflates the market. And I'm gonna try and explain this as clear and as fast as possible. So let's say you get pre-approved for a loan of $200,000. Great, the house you wanna buy is for sale right now for $200,000. Perfect, right? Well, just because you've been approved for a loan does not mean that is the mortgage amount you will receive. So the mortgage company is gonna have an appraiser look at the house, and let's say the appraiser says that the house is appraised for $180,000. Well, even though you've been approved for a $200,000 loan, you will only be able to get a $180,000 mortgage. This means that difference of $20,000 is going to have to be paid in cash by you. Now, typically this kills the deal because you're gonna have to come up with $20,000 extra on top of that closing costs. And not a lot of first home buyers have that much cash on them. And even if that's not the case and they can still cover that extra cash, it still takes time to go through this process. It's not as fast as closing with cash, just because you're not dealing with that extra third party, the mortgage company and the loan and the appraiser and all that. And how houses get their value is you look at comps or comparable homes, but the comparables are not houses that are for sale, but for houses that are just been recently sold. So they look at the value that the market has set, right? The value of a home is determined by how much someone will pay for it. So that is why you only look at sold homes. But a lot of cash buyers, to entice, the seller into picking them, since they're buying with cash, they obviously have money and they're willing to go above market value to get that house right away, which typically, if you're going to do that with a loan, if you're going above market value, even if it's appraised for at the selling price, you're still going to have to come up with that extra money. So let's say even the house that's being sold for $200,000 gets appraised for $200,000 and you're approved for that. If you want to entice the seller to pick you over all the other people and you want to go for $220,000, you're going to have to come up with that extra $20,000, right? While a cash buyer has a lot of cash, so this is typically the route they go. It's usually more accessible of an option for them versus people who have to get loans. And that's what a lot of them do. So let's tie this back into the scenario of the baby boomers who have 1.2 million in the bank. They would be totally fine paying $220,000 or $250,000, right? They just got 1.2 million. So an extra 20, 30, 50,000 on the house is not really gonna break the bank for them. But since a lot of cash buyers are doing this, it raises the comps, the comparable prices. So now when the person next door tries to sell their house, which may have been worth 200,000 just as yours, let's say it's the same type of house, a 1 bed, 1 bath, 900 square foot. Well, now when they look at the house next door that just sold for 250,000, oh, now my house is worth 250,000 because that is what the market has demand. So that house might get appraised for 250,000, thus inflating the market. So that is where we're stuck right now. We are stuck with not a lot of houses in inventory, and the ones that are in inventory typically are being sold to cash buyers, people who have sold bigger homes and are downgrading just to, have extra money for security, help people out, just to have more financial stability. But this is causing a crisis for first home buyers because those smaller homes that are typically more affordable are at really top of the market value, and there's not a lot of them available. So I hope this video gave a little more insight of the first home buyer crisis that we're currently going through. I just wanted to make this video because I see a lot of things on social media of, millennials talking about how,
oh, we can never afford a house, I'm 26, I'm still living with my parents, I'm trying to save up money to buy a house because it's just so crazy right now.
And it really is a crazy market, but we just went through and are still going through a global pandemic, so give yourselves all a break. It's not completely on you. It's not because you're not working hard enough. It's just we're in a really tricky market right now. If you're wondering how am I supposed to buy a house then, you can watch my last video I made. It is talking about a 5-year goal to home ownership. So that could give you some more tips on how to prepare yourself to actually get to buy a house, because it does take planning. It doesn't just, a spur of the moment, oh, I think I'm gonna buy a house. Maybe for some, but not for all. So my last video is a 5-year plan on how to get a house. I recommend it if you're wondering, okay, now how do I start then if we're in a first home buying crisis? But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful and insightful. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. We can chat there. I also am a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Utah. So if you're looking for a real estate agent in Utah, my contact information is down below. Call, text, email, we'll connect there. This channel is really focused on real estate, investing, and finance. So if any of those things interest you, feel free to subscribe to this channel. I'll try and be posting every single Sunday. But besides that, I will see you guys all in my next video. Have a great day, everyone.